Folks, today we're going to discuss a case of Stephanie Wasilishin. Her daughter Nicole has reached out to me to do a video, folks. This case is 30 years old. It happened back in 1993 in Sedona, Arizona, folks. Nicole was a little girl at the time, and she wants justice for her mom. My gosh, it's been 30 years. Nicole is an adult now, and she's fighting every single day for her mother. Every single day. Now, this is what Nicole remembers. She was a little girl. She remembers her mom coming home from work, her giving her mom a hug, and her going to bed, folks. Her going to bed. Now, her parents, this is what they hear. This is what we know so far. Her parents had a little bit of a disagreement, okay? And it depends on who's talking, okay? Russell Peterson, who was the stepfather of Nicole and Stephanie's husband at the time. He says they get into an argument. This is what he tells 911. They get into an argument. Stephanie goes into the bedroom, comes out with a gun. When she comes out with a gun, he says she fires a shot, misses him. He goes into the bedroom. They argue about the gun. They have a fight over the gun, and the gun goes off. And Stephanie is shot. Now, when he calls 911, and I listened to the 911 recording, I heard it, folks, okay? He says, please send an ambulance. My wife is hurt. They asked him what happened. He said she was shot. They asked him who shot her, and he pauses. And he pauses and says, I don't know. It's either me or her. So he doesn't know who pulled the trigger. He says it's either me or her. Okay? Now, folks, back then, you're talking 1993, they still had, I believe, gun residue, stuff they can put on your hands to see if you had gun residue on your hand. Basically, being a cop all these years, being a detective for 14 years, when we went to a scene like this, okay, we can tell who pulled the trigger, okay, by gun residue on their hands. By gun residue on their hands, we can tell who pulled the trigger. Because when you pull the trigger, residue and gunpowder comes out of that gun, and there's no way to stop it. It goes on your hand. So if the police put this on your hand, it will turn a different color, knowing that you had your hand on that trigger. You had your hand on that gun. Now, what I'm hearing right now is the police never did that. So when you don't do that, okay, and as far as I know, they didn't do that, okay? When you don't do that, how do you know who pulled the trigger, folks? How do you know? Okay? You have to investigate even further in this case, okay? Because you gotta say that. Russell is saying that she may have did this to herself, and now people are saying it was Russell. So the police at that time could have really done the gun residue test, and that would have helped, extremely helped. Now, another thing that bothers me a little bit, Nicole told me, now listen to this, Nicole told me that they actually put her in the same car as Russell Peterson. Now, this was her stepfather at the time. Listen, I'm sure stepfather, I don't know if he was a good father or not, but still, if he's a suspect and the police don't know, I'm shocked the police put her in the car with this. She asked me if this was normal. Listen, for me being a police officer, I would have never done this. I would have kept everybody separate, because you want to separate witnesses anyway to get their statements, because one witness can make another witness say something that they really don't believe. They can say, well, maybe I missed something. Listen what he's saying. So just separating witnesses is a reason to separate them. Not even though this was her mother and he may be the suspect and you put her in the car. I always thought that was weird when Nicole told me that. So, folks, she is fighting for justice. It's been 30 years. 30 years that her mom was killed. Okay? Now, again, Russell is staying with his story that he had nothing to do with this, that it was her. Okay? That she unalived herself. But if you listen to the recordings, he says, listen, he says, I'm not sure. Either her or me. I'm not sure. Okay? So it's been 30 years, folks. They're saying they don't have enough evidence in this case. They're saying they don't have enough evidence in this case, folks. We need justice here, folks. You know, at least have the police reopen this. Let them reinvestigate it, folks. This definitely deserves another look. 100%. If anything, this case deserves another look. As a retired detective, listen, I believe now, if this case happened now, the detectives would be right on it doing the gun residue. That's a huge mistake. I always say this. First police officers at a scene could make or break a case. Make or break one. In this case, they should have done the gun residue. They should have. And as far as I know, they didn't. That could have helped solve this case. I always say, them first officers could solve a case. Just like the John Benet Ramsey case, they messed that case up, and the police could have messed this case up too, folks. I think the police should reopen this case. It's worth another look. Nicole wants justice. She wants to know what really happened to her mom. Could you imagine being a little kid when this happened, actually being at the scene and never really knowing an answer? Really knowing the truth. I say, let's open this case up. Let's take another look. If he is innocent, it'll be proved he's innocent. If he's guilty, it'll be proved he's guilty. So let's reopen this case up, police. Let's reopen it. Listen, there's nothing wrong with taking another look. In fact, it's the right thing to do. Nicole, I hope you get what you're looking for. I hope this video helps, because I'm here to help you, because I want to see justice too. Either way. Police, open this case up. Please, take another look. Please. Folks, today we're going to discuss a case of